everyone. Well, I don't know how I can quite follow Nathan, but here we are. I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you about video and growing an audience on YouTube, or YouTube if I say it in an American accent, but I think I'll stick to my own through this. So yesterday we heard from Casey, who is one of, well, I would say he's the king of YouTube. He's probably one of the most successful creators on the platform we've ever had. Nearly 10 million subscribers is what he's at. As Alexis just said, I'm not quite at that level yet. This has been my growth on YouTube. So I'm at nearly at 100,000 subscribers, which, while it's no 10 million, is still a heck of a lot of people, you know? And here's the thing about my growth. Oh, thank you. I've been working on this for nearly 5 years, is where this growth has taken place. I've been working on it alongside a full-time job, moving countries, running a podcast, a small t-shirt company, lots of other side projects. So this is steady growth that I've been able to maintain on the side of all that. I think it is fair to say that I am not an overnight success. I'm not a viral hit. I'm not going to have 1 million subscribers anytime soon. But guess what? I don't need to, and you don't either. I think there's probably a lot of you here in the audience today who are feeling like you should be doing video. Does that anyone ring a bell? Yeah? Or maybe you've already started a channel, perhaps. Today I want to share my journey and give you some tips for success and sustainable growth. What I'm not here to do is teach you how to become an overnight success. Because I don't even think I really believe in that term. I think that often people appear out of nowhere, right? And they're all of a sudden really popular. And that can sometimes make us as creators feel like we're not good enough because the content we're putting out isn't reaching those, crazy big numbers. But the thing is that we never hear about the years and years of work that go on behind the scenes before that person created that one piece of content that reached that success level. So speaking of backstories, let me tell you a little bit of mine. This right here is a screenshot from my first ever YouTube video. And I probably could have picked a more flattering thumbnail, but it landed on this one, and I thought, you know what? This is pretty indicative of just how awkward that video was. I started my YouTube channel in October 2013, and I started it because I was watching a lot of YouTube and realizing that I couldn't really find anyone like me. I'm a designer. I work on the marketing team at ConvertKit, and I really wanted to see videos from designers living their life, talking about their careers, and so I thought maybe I could be that channel, I started out filming on a camera that didn't have a flip-out screen, so it was really hard to frame myself. It didn't have autofocus, so my videos were sometimes a little bit blurry, and it also could only film in 5-minute chunks, so filming took a long time. It was a process. But I pushed through all of these tech difficulties and all of the general awkwardness of talking on camera, and I filmed videos. And that's when I realized that you don't need to be a video pro to make YouTube videos. All you need to be is a person with a camera and something to say. So if any of you are feeling any sort of imposter syndrome about making YouTube videos, then please don't, okay? Let me tell you that. Everything that you need to know about making video, you can learn over time as you go, and you'll be able to pick up tips and tricks along the way and try things out, and you'll be able to improve your quality as you go. When we think about quality versus quantity, the usual advice is to aim for something like this, right? You want to make less stuff so that the stuff you do put out is of much higher quality. That makes sense. But unfortunately, that's not the case on YouTube. On YouTube, you need to aim for something more like this, a bit of a better balance between the two. And the reason for this is if you put out a really good quality video, but you're only uploading once a month, people are going to forget you exist. You're not going to be a regular part of their routine or their content consuming cycle, and so you're going to find it hard to grow. And then on the flip side, if you're uploading every single day, but your videos are really boring because you're rushing them and they're not well edited, people aren't going to watch them, you're going to be putting in that effort for nothing, and you won't grow. So how you can strike this balance is by forming a habit. I do this by setting aside a certain amount of time every week, maybe like 3 hours. And during that 3 hours, I'm going to film, I'm going to edit, and I'm going to upload, and that is my video for the week. I'm going to move on to the next one. And like I said, you'll be able to improve and learn as you go. Using this habit-forming technique, I've been able to upload a video every single week since I first started my channel nearly 5 years ago. Thank you. And you've got to show up and prove to your audience that you're worth their time. And I think you're also proving it to yourself as well when you do this, when you commit to it. So when I started out, I was uploading, like I said, every single week. I was really consistent with that. But what I wasn't so consistent with was the type of content I was uploading. I was making videos about all of these different topics. It's a lot, and there was even more than that. The reason for this is partly because I was afraid to commit to something. There was also probably some unintentional copying going on there, just looking at what other people were making on YouTube and thinking that, oh, that's what I need to be doing, you know. I was also just having fun making all of this stuff to start out with as well, but I did realize after a while that, okay, I should tone this down a little bit, get a bit more streamlined. So I dropped a bunch of them off. This is a lot better, right? A lot less overwhelming. But it still wasn't quite right. I found myself getting really frustrated because I would be in an event and someone would introduce me to a friend and they would say things like, oh, hi, this is Charli and she makes fashion videos. Or, oh, this is Charli, have you seen her DIY projects? Sometimes they would say design, but I wanted them to say design all of the time because that was my one true love and that's what I wanted to be known as. So I sat down and I wrote a mission statement for my channel that I wanted to be the go-to channel for young creatives to learn, get motivation, and gain insights into life as a designer. So thinking about this, thinking about my ideal audience, I think it's pretty obvious that this is what I needed to do. Drop the rest, commit to design videos. This was really scary at first because I was a few years into this now. I think I had about 30,000 subscribers at the time, and I was really worried that I would see a drop in that number. I was worried that people who are there only for the fashion or the DIY content, that they would leave. And I don't know, it would be embarrassing or something. Maybe that was what I was thinking. But luckily, it didn't turn out that way. It turned out to be the right choice for me. Not only has committing to design videos helped me grow a lot faster than ever, but it also means my audience is being filled with my people, right? These are people who will happily watch me talk about font organization for 7 minutes, which that's great, because that's the kind of nerdy people I like. So my advice to you is you've got to choose a niche. Pick that one thing that you want to be known for and just go all in on it. I do have to give my old videos some credit though, even though, you know, they're a bit all over the place. They did lay a foundation for what I was creating. So let's rewind a little bit back to the start of my channel. The early stages of a YouTube channel are really important, and I think the first 6 months is where channels with great potential can often go to die. And it's not because people stop subscribing, but it's because the creator gets really frustrated at the slow growth and they give up. Let's zoom in on my first 6 months. All right, so after 6 months of making a video every single week, sometimes even 2, when I started out, I was like really trying to be an overachiever, I was at 945 subscribers, which again is a big number. That's about 3 times the number of people in this room right now. But in YouTube terms, it's pretty small. And on paper, that's not a great return on the investment of time and effort and money for equipment that I was putting in. But I stuck with it because I hoped that I would get somewhere. Now, I was at a conference earlier on this year, actually, and I met someone who said that they started a YouTube channel, and they grew it to 6,000 subscribers in the first 6 months. And then they quit because they thought they weren't growing fast enough. I absolutely couldn't believe it. Let's lay his growth on this graph with mine, shall we? So it took me nearly a year longer than him to reach that point that he was at when he quit. And I'm just so glad that I pushed through those early stages and stuck with it, because guess what? It takes time to get people to care. Even if you're in a niche, you still have to find your people. And the simple act of pushing through, of not giving up, is going to be what sets you apart from so many other people. It's what sets you apart from the person who quit because he thought 6,000 wasn't good enough. If you keep going, you've got a chance to make it. I want to encourage you to embrace those slow-growing early stages. It's a really great time to be learning and experimenting, maybe taking a few creative risks because the stakes aren't that high yet, so you can try some things out, figure out what works for you. But I do know, and I've been there, and I know that slow growth can be really frustrating. And it's easy to see why creators get discouraged when you see things like this on the YouTube trending page, right? Lots of prank videos and like all these caps lock thumbnails and shocked faces. This is what we call clickbait. And it's really easy to get swept up in this and think that this is what YouTube is all about, that this is the game you have to play. And not just all of this super dramatic stuff, but things like the YouTube algorithm as well. You know, there's always a new rule you have to learn, a new time you should be uploading, a set video length that you should have. specific tags, specific ways you should do your thumbnail to get people to click. And don't get me wrong, you should research this, you should understand it, but all of it should come secondary to your content. What's more important is making a human connection. The YouTube algorithm might be what gets the video's attention, but you are the reason that they will stay. Someone might click on one of your videos because you had this perfectly colored thumbnail, or maybe you put the exact right tag so it showed up in their suggested feed at the side, But the reason they're going to stay and the reason they're going to keep coming back is if they like what they see. It's because of your content. Your content is why they'll click subscribe. So that's why you need to serve your audience first and the algorithm second, or third, or fourth. Don't get swept up in the numbers. You need to remember that your audience are people. They are real people. They're humans with thoughts and feelings and emotions. And just to drive this point home, I want to introduce you to some of the humans who watch my videos. I put out a call for my audience to send in a video message, just tell me why they watch my videos, and I couldn't believe the response I got back. So let me introduce you to a couple of them.
Hello, my name is Jordan. I am from rainy Delaware, United States, and where I am from, the whole art genre of career is kind of frowned upon. So until I found Charli's channel, I didn't really realize that having a design career was really possible. Because of Charli, I am now a full-fledged graphic designer for a company here, and it's been great. So Charli, thank you. You've been fantastic.
I really like Charli's channel because she has so many talents and skills and really interesting viewpoints to share with everybody, and it feels like I'm just getting to know her as a person through watching her YouTube videos.
Hey, how's it going? Corey Miller here, and the reason why I like Charli's channel is because it's succinct, she explains everything that she wants to say very simply. There's no ads. And hers is a channel that I can sit down with my daughters and watch, and they can enjoy her channel, and I don't have to worry about what's going to happen because I know that it's all great. So that's why.
I'm not a designer or a coder, but I love your channel because firstly, I just really enjoy watching you, and I find your videos really interesting. And I'm a freelancer, I'm a freelance video maker, and I feel there are a lot of similarities between what you do and the advice you give. I just love your channel because you're an amazing character to watch.
I'm so proud to have these wonderful people in my audience, people like Jordan and Mayuko and Corey and Jay. I'm proud that they care, and I'm really proud that my passion for design is helping them. Because that's the thing, you've got to have passion. It is so hard to stick with something if you're not passionate about it, if you don't enjoy it, and if you feel like it doesn't have a purpose. So here's an example for you about that. These right here are the top 3 performing videos on my YouTube channel, right? These are the most popular. They're about screen printing and running a t-shirt business, which is something I focused on, a few years ago. If I look at the data, right, if I look at what's working well on my channel, I should have a screen printing channel, right? I should be talking about t-shirt businesses. That's what the people want. I should give them what they want. But I kind of felt like I'd said all I needed to say about this. I'd made all the videos I wanted to, and I moved on. I think if I'd tried to force this, if I'd tried to become a t-shirt business channel, people would have been able to tell that I wasn't into it. Video is very personal, and so your passion for things can come across, and your lack of passion for things can come across. I would have stopped growing because my videos just wouldn't have been as enjoyable to watch. And also as a creator, I would have lost momentum for the creation phase as well. I wouldn't have been enjoying it. It's really hard to make yourself do something every single week and put aside all that time for something you're not enjoying. I would have lost momentum. I would have stopped growing. Instead, I like to make content about these sorts of things. I like to make stuff that serves the audience I'm most interested in helping. Things like issues creatives face, remote working, like nerdy little details about contracts and fonts, like I said before. So even though you want to grow and you want to do what's popular, what's more important is staying true to yourself and to your interests. So every now and then as you're creating, I want you to step back. I want you to forget the rules, forget all the clickbait, forget all the algorithm, and I want you to remember the goal and the passion and make sure that it's your passion that's fueling your content, nothing else. So what's the one thing that you do every week that if it wasn't part of your week, you wouldn't feel complete? That is what you should be making videos about. Not what's popular, not clickbait. Clickbait and viral videos are like the one-hit wonder of YouTube land, right? They're like Who Let the Dogs Out and the Baha Men. I mean, who knows what these guys are up to these days? Or what any of their other songs were. We don't want to be the Baha Men, right? Instead, we want to be more like Bowie. Bowie was an icon. He had many, many hits, many great albums, a nice, long, successful career, definitely not a one-hit wonder, right? I know which one of these two that I would rather be compared to. No offense to the Baha Men. I'm just a fan of building a career over time. I've been building up this body of work, like I said, for 5 years now. This is just a few of the experiences that I've had along my journey. I have started a podcast, started an online community for that podcast, hosted a meetup, workshops, conference talks, launched a Patreon, and all of this was YouTube as the catalyst for it. To build this up, I was putting in a few hours of effort every week to make a video, and this is what it's added up to over time. The great thing about YouTube is that there is no barrier to entry, right? It's really easy to get started, but it's a lot harder to keep going. I'm aware that there are about 300 people here today in this audience, and starting tomorrow, we're not going to see 300 new YouTube channels, you know. That's okay. YouTube isn't for everyone. Right now, I want to talk to the person who has perhaps been watching YouTube from the sidelines for a while and feeling like they really want to start, but also worrying that they're not interesting enough. They don't have the right equipment. They don't know how to do it. They don't know what to say. Or maybe the person who has started out on YouTube, they've dabbled in it for a little bit, and they've realized, all right, this is harder than I thought. Here's what I have to say to you. Commit to this, and remember that this is a journey. So go easy on yourself and let it take the time that it needs. We don't want to be the Baha Men. We don't want to be Who Let the Dogs Out. I don't want you to be the YouTube equivalent of this. I want you to have steady, sustainable growth, like Bowie. Bowie spent 10 years working on his music and acting and art before he became an overnight success with Ziggy Stardust. And look what happened once he did. He impacted the lives of so many people, and you can too. Now, when you hear that something might take a while, I think there are two different reactions you can have to it. Either you think, oh, well, what's the point then? Might as well not try. Sounds too difficult. Or you can go the more positive route, and you can think, well, I better start right now. And if you're the type of person who comes to craft and commerce, who invests in your business and in your side hustle like this, I think you're the type of person to get started right now. So do it, get started, work with what you have, commit, and hopefully I'll see you on YouTube.